Good evening, ladies. How are you doing? This is our Sunday Fun Day for July the 12th, and it is a pre-recorded video. So let's go over the supplies that you're going to need for tonight. You're going to need a piece of cardstock that measures 5.5 by 8.5, and this is going to act as our base. You will need some type of embellishments. You will need a stackable shape. You will need 2 of them. Your smallest will be approximately 1 3/4 by 3-ish, and then your larger one would be 2 by 3 1/4-ish. And this one I did out of cardstock, and the smaller one I did out of paper, pattern paper. Then you will need a piece of cardstock that measures 3/4 by 5, and another piece that measures 1/4 by 5. You're going to need a pattern paper that is 3 3/4 by 5. Then you will need a large white, 2 of them, 4 by 5 1/4. One will be our inside, one will be our outside of our card. So let's get started. So I am going to take my cardstock base. This is, oh, I wish I could remember the color. It is a pink. Maybe Melon Mambo? Flirty Flamingo. Oh, I don't remember. Don't remember. But it's a darker hot pink. Okay, so it was 5.5 by 8.5, and you're going to score at your 4 1/4. I'm going to take one of my white or light colored cardstock pieces that is 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to place this on the front of my card. We went up north, so I'm not 100% sure if I would be home in time to do our Sunday Fun Day. I hope everyone had a great 4th of July in spite of all those storms. Next, we're going to take our pattern piece that is 3 3/4 by 5. And this one we're going to center it right into that white piece. I am using the Everyday Essentials, which is kind of like a mix-in pack for our July projects. Next, we're going to take our 2 smaller pieces of cardstock, the 3/4 by 5 and the 1/4 by 5. I'm going to start with the 3/4 by 5 because it's easier to adhere something larger and getting it centered versus the skinnier. And I know I'm getting close to being out of adhesive again. So for this piece, we are going to place it at 1/2 of an inch from the bottom, which is, let's see, 1. You know what? Let's go up a little higher. We are going to go maybe an inch. Let's go up an inch from the bottom. So I went up an inch from the bottom of the card, just like that. Now with your 1/4 by 5, this you are going to want to use your liquid adhesive because it's so much easier. And I'm going to place that right above my 3/4 inch piece. I am using Darling Duckling as my yellow, and this gray blue is called Cloud Cover. So that is what I'm using there. Next, we are going to grab our stackable shapes, and I am going to put them together. Just like so. And I'm going to grab those embellishments. And I used the Fern and Flora to cut my pieces. This is going to get stamped with a sentiment. Now my sentiments today are a close to my heart sentiments. And I liked the Just For You. I thought that would be such a pretty, kind of like a thinking of you type of card. And that's going to go right in the center of this white bracket. And I am going to use Cloud Cover ink for it. Now remember, Stampin' Up! Ink is way juicier. So you don't want to go in like gangbusters. You want to just do that light tap, tap, tap. I'm going to center this the best that I can. And voila! That's really pretty. Okay, before we put the cloud cover away, let's do the sentiment for the inside. And again, I'm going to use another one that was a close to my heart stamp. Let's see. Oh, I like this sentiment here. Your laughter makes my heart smile. Isn't that such a pretty saying? And I think that's what I'm going to use. Okay. And again, I'm going to do a light tap. I am just going to stamp off just to make sure. Yep, that's looking good. And let's do one more time. Lovely. That looks fantastic. And we're going to close up our ink pad because you know what happens. Guaranteed, I will be wearing it. Okay, let's set that aside. We can set our block aside. Let's set a few things aside. Let's do our inside of our card since it's ready to rock and roll. We're going to put our adhesive on that. And we're going to just center this inside our card. Like that. All right, now let's get back to business. So I'm going to want my arches, or your stackable shape, is going to go to the right hand side. Now the Just For You, this I definitely want on foam. So before I put that on, I'm going to just kind of lay everything where I think I'm wanting it. And then I'm going to grab my two ferns. And I want them behind the sentiment. That is why I'm thinking I want that to be raised. And then this one's going to lay right inside that. Something like that. I think that's very pretty. Okay, let's put our foam adhesive on the back of my shape. I love my Paper Pumpkin subscription because some of these shapes are like the leftovers. You might have one left over or two left over from a project, and they're just perfect. So before I put that on, I'm going to get everything else adhered. Let's put our stackable shapes next. Okay. And I'm going to place that sort of where it's over the two cardstock pieces, so but it's like it's even, it's straight on. Let's grab that liquid adhesive, and we're going to do our two ferns. I'm going to place one right there. I do love these dies. They're so pretty, so delicate. Okay, we're going to let that overlap. Let's grab our Take Your Pick tool, and we are going to pop the backings off of our dimensionals, which just makes life so much simpler. And we're going to place our sentiment towards the bottom of our stackable shapes, like so. And then I grabbed two different, now that I'm looking at it, I definitely don't like these. These are the earthy matte dots. It's not the right blue. That's definitely not what I want. But I think this is what I'm gonna want. These are the holographic resin dots. And that's exactly what I want. So I'm going to grab a large one, and we're going to put it towards the top near that cluster. I'm going to grab a medium, and I think I'm going to go right on the sentiment piece. And then I'm going to do a tiny one, and I'm going to come right up next to that large. And there is our simple card for tonight, for Sunday Fun Day. I hope you enjoyed this card. It is really pretty. This is a great design that you can do like mass productions of. Thinking Christmas cards, this would be great. Okay, you have a super rest of your Sunday. Have a safe week next week. And our Sunday Fun Day for next week will be another pre-recorded video. Okay? Have a great evening, and I will see you all real soon here on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, have a good evening. Bye-bye.